Online at consumerqb.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host for the day, filling in for Brandon Rhymes, Alex BlackBelt Lima. You can catch me online at @blackbelt_fitness on the gram, and just take a look for me. I'm not hard to find once you do a little bit of searching. So we have Nick Schriver in the house decorating Elves. He's gonna. I'm telling you, I know the name can be a little bit of a misnomer. You think it's just about doing holiday decorations, but it goes far beyond that. He can help you get better lighting for security around your home. He can help you set the mood for your pool parties and stuff like that. And we're gonna get into that in just a second. But before we do, I would love to highlight some of the properties from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. For those of you that don't know, Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes own one of the best real estate companies in all of Florida, the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams, also now known as the Platinum Coastal Elite. One of the properties I would love to showcase for you guys today is 1050 Farmingdale Lane in Newport Richey, Florida. This is a beautiful home. It's 2,217 square feet. 4-bedroom, 3-bath. It's an open split floor plan with high ceilings, lots of natural light coming through. I mean, that's one of those places where, I mean, look at that. That's beautiful. All the marble on the floor, brick along the outside of the house. I mean, you definitely, I feel like I can put on a white glove and touch those counters and there's not going to be any dust in there. I mean, that property is beautiful. And I know my boy Nick Schriver here can set you up with some lighting for those pool parties back there in the back. So 1050 Farmingdale Lane in Newport Richey, Florida. You definitely want to check it out at platinumcoastalelite.com. Another property I would love to showcase for you guys is 9731 San Vincent Way in Port Richey, Florida. The whole house is remodeled just a year and a half ago, from top to bottom, all the way down to the studs. It's got a new roof, high impact windows, new AC, new air ducts. All electric components are brand new. New hot water heater. I'm going to say new one more time. It's got new appliances as well. So this house has been completely redone. Beautiful cabinetry. Beautiful, family home there. Nice little neighborhood it looks like right there in Port Richey. 9731 San Vincent Way. You can check out all of our properties at platinumcoastalelite.com, or you can call our off-air number 727-263-3707. So in the house, we have Nick Schriver from Decorating Elves. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome to see you. I know you look like you got a little bit of sun. I know you were saying you just you might have gone on a little trip somewhere. Where'd you go?
I just got back from doing 3 weeks out of the country. It's a pretty amazing trip. Thanks for asking. I was in Kazakhstan, which is in Central Asia, for 14 days with my family. My brother lives there. He's lived there for 10 years. He went over there to teach English and then got into the coffee business. He's like percentage owner in small coffee, kind of like a mini Starbucks.
Wow. Okay.
And raises his family there. He's got 4 kids. His wife's from Kentucky, so they're all Americans living on the other side of the world in a post-Soviet country, no less. So we had a chance. So we talk about it for a minute here. Flying on the other side of the country, is quite a project, and I have an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old, and they did amazing. We flew out of Miami, 12 hours into Istanbul. We were on Turkish Air, and we had a 17-hour layover. So they gave us a tour of Istanbul as part of like our travel package.
That's not a layover. You might as well say I spent a day.
Yeah, we spent a day. So they gave us a tour, 9-hour tour in the city, drove us in with a bus, tour guide. We got to see all the old sites, the Blue Mosque, Hagia Sophia, like the Topak Palace, the Hippodrome, all the cool stuff. Had a tour guide walk us around. They fed us twice. We did 20,000 steps, so we were exhausted.
Yeah.
We slept like 3 hours at the airport in a little mini hotel, jumped on another flight, got to Kazakhstan. That was another 4-hour flight. Spent 10 days with my brother. So we met a ton of amazing people, ate a ton of amazing food, really saw how a country that's doing very well economically, kind of coming out of post-Soviet control, and was just learned an immense amount about that culture, that population, really about things that I never even was aware of. And then obviously in the process got a significantly greater appreciation for home and for, being an American and, the benefits that we get here, the blessings that we have here, and just how great it is to be here. And not saying that it's not great there. I mean, the people were amazing, and we had a wonderful time. But it's always good to be home, and there's so many things you take for granted. For example, ice. Ice is very well taken for granted in pretty much, I think, everywhere except here.
No doubt.
And that was something we noticed right away. And it's summer, it's hot, and we were like, let me get some ice in my drink. And they're like, yeah, that ain't happening.
What was the weather like out there?
It was hot,
but not humid. Not
no,
humid.
There was no
because
humidity.
what kills us is the humidity.
Like
It's hot, but it's the humidity. It's
Florida
sticky.
is humid, so. Yeah. If you don't like the humidity, you're probably not living. You shouldn't be living in Florida.
You better deal with it or go.
Figure it out. Because I've been all over the place, and I don't know very many places that are humid like we are here. Where it's a
swamp.
Yeah. You get sweaty walking from your front door to your car at 8:15 in the morning. Yeah. So it was hot, but it wasn't humid. So you just kind of manage it. But beautiful country, great green space, great people. We had a really good time seeing kind of some of that. We were in a city called Shymkent, which is in the lower part of the country, near the border of Uzbekistan.
Okay.
And then we were there for 10 days, and then we were in the main city called Almaty, which is the more modern city, more financial kind of center of that whole region. It's about 360 miles away. It's like 600 kilometers, something like that. But yeah, it was super cool. Cars are different. They're smaller. Everybody asked. They always wanted, when they found out I was American, they were thrilled. They loved meeting Americans. They love America.
Questions about the culture in America.
Yeah, well, there was two things that they asked me as a male all the time. They asked me if I owned a gun.
Okay.
They all wanted to know whether I owned a gun, and they all wanted to know if I owned a big pickup truck.
Yeah. You American, yes? You have gun and truck?
You own gun and you own a pickup truck. And I was like, yep.
You know it.
Both. Absolutely. Everybody I know does.
You know John Wayne?
They didn't ask about that, but yes, it's kind of that idea.
No, that's cool.
And then they all had opinions about politics and government, but they don't really talk about their own politics because they can get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Right. It's even though they have elections, they don't necessarily have them like we do.
Sure.
But the government definitely took care of the people. It wasn't like anything, and you could see the old Soviet buildings.
Right.
They're very, very non-attractive.
Yeah.
Without. Rectangles, squares, and very plain and very boring. And but in the current world, in the last 30 years, they've dressed them up. So it was really interesting. Like the city was alive and it hustled and bustled, like a lot of cities do, and a lot of trading and a lot of this and that. And we went to a soccer game. It was a playoff game, so they were competing with the main city, the capital city called Astana, and so they actually won, which was amazing in overtime, which is even better. Yeah. The whole you could feel the energy just like you do, when the local team's doing well.
Yeah.
It felt about as awesome as the Lightning feels when they're whooping up on Boston in a playoff game.
Yeah, for sure.
And that energy's in there and they're just slamming the boards. It felt like that. Like the energy was like the same, like it was just charged. So we had a lot of fun there. And then coming back through, we were in Istanbul. And, Istanbul's like one of those cities that is the heart of history.
Yeah.
Like there's so much history through there.
Tremendous, for sure.
Yeah. And it's not a city that like I ever projected, like had like, hey, this is something on my bucket list.
Yeah.
But when we were making our decisions to get there, my wife was like, yeah, let's do that one. Let's do some layover. Let's see it. So we added it in, and I'm really glad we did. It's super cool. Europe's on one side, Asia's on the other, and in the city they say this is where the Muslim faith meets Christianity, right? And so you can see that everywhere because in the Byzantine Empire, that was where a lot of Christianity was held in history, and up until the 1400s, it was a Christian or Greek Orthodox based, area, and then it became Muslim. But when it became Muslim, it didn't become fully Muslim. It was more of like an integration.
Yeah.
and you still see that integration.
Kind of like the contemporary churches that we see today, where it has a little mixture of both.
Well, they kind of took over a lot. They didn't. It wasn't fully like, hey, we're totally cool with like all of it. Right. Like we're still bringing everything.
We'll cohabitate, but just so you know, we're not totally cool.
Yes, it was. That's kind of my vibe. I don't know exactly. I mean, I'm sure some other people could contradict me, but
I'm sure there's strong opinions on it from both sides.
That's also what they claim. Like this is where Christianity and Muslim cultures meet in throughout history, and this is where we cohabitate. This is where we get along. And you could see a lot of that, and there was just so much history there. It was a beautiful city, super cool. I mean, if anybody ever gets a chance, I would recommend it.
Definitely.
So yeah, it was awesome.
That's cool, man. So beautiful culture, beautiful people out there. Obviously, I know sometimes people can in their head they can kind of misconstrue how like all those countries out there kind of are. Not everybody, you know, because there's ignorance. Some people see that and they're like, they think that everybody that's from those like desert lands, it's all like Taliban, and that is just not the case. They're beautiful people, very well loving people. Anybody I've ever interacted with, I've had great interactions.
Absolutely, with. And that's they're Turks. They're not Arabs,
exactly,
so it's different,
exactly.
right?
It's
and they
ignorance.
Look at themselves differently. And listen, like before I even got there, I had no clue. And then I was reading up as I was getting there. You know, I watched my Rick Steves videos from PBS. Which I always enjoy. Like, get my education and then get there. And then when you start interacting with the people, you get a whole nother set of education. You know, and how they look at things and how they see things and how they look at everyone else. And, you know, in a lot of my travels, a lot of people have a lot of favorable view of the U.S. And, you know, it's a destination. And so, you know, when we get home, and it's one of those things like that I'm real fortunate my kids can get that experience. So as they grow up and as they get that, and still with me sometimes getting that like check, like, hey, you know, you're in the middle of your grind work week, and you know, a lot of you guys are probably driving home. You're in the middle of that grind, and you're going, oh man, today's a tough day. Everything, it's a tough week. It's a tough whatever. Like, we're super lucky and super fortunate that we get what we get.
Yeah, friendly reminder, when you think your day sucks or you're going through some tough stuff, you have no idea what some of the other sides of the world look like.
Yeah, and even what poverty looks like when you get to the other sides of the world.
Different level.
It's different
level.
Like, even though Istanbul is like a pretty big city, like the fact that you still got to drink bottled water, you got to be careful of that. You got to be careful of a lot of things sanitation-wise. Like, we're so lucky that we have all these things here. So, you know, not to drone on about all the benefits that's great about being in the States, but like it really helps balance perspectives.
Definitely.
Like, I love it. And the opportunity to travel. So it's always one of those, get out and see the world, make friends, realize that we're all human. There's so much we have in common, but it's always great to learn about all our differences.
Absolutely, 1,000%. So with your travel and everything that you saw, and I mean, I know you were checking out the lighting situation, did it give you any ideas? Like, were you inspired checking out some of these, like the way these things were set up? And it's like, man, for one, I know you would come in, I could do this to this building, but then also as like, bring some of these ideas back to like, man, these would be really cool to set up some of the houses and do the outside stuff.
Obviously in Istanbul is a little more established culture, and there was some really cool stuff that had been done. And, you know, there's some wealth in that city that was definitely being shown and being done well. So the ability to kind of how we saw some really cool things when we were out on the river at night really, really looks amazing. And then some of the stuff that people do to show the way they show those big buildings off was amazing. Now, when I was in Kazakhstan, it was kind of the other side of the coin. Like, I could really set up shop and really help a lot of people here and really educate on what would be considered good lighting, what would be considered a good way to do this stuff. But, you know, that's kind of the difference between a country that just shed the Iron Curtain and is starting to grow into their economic viability and really starting to develop their culture. More like redevelop their culture, and then one that's been thriving for a long time.
Sure, they're like a phoenix rising. They're just coming back to their own and starting to establish their
starting to get a little
individuality.
Starting to get their economics built and starting to build their cities out and starting to be more modern.
Yeah, awesome. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to bring it back home to the States here, and I want to talk about some of the awesome options you were telling me off air about how we can set up for the summer lighting for our pool parties and just have your house looking nice, man, for when people come over. Because we want to come home and we want to enjoy our home when we get there. And something that makes a tremendous difference is the lighting and vibe that you set, without a doubt.
Looking forward to it.
When we come back, www.consumerqb.com. Don't touch that dial.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host for the day, Alex BlackBelt Lima, filling in for your consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Appreciate you listening to us. You could be doing anything, but you're listening to us because, you know, we bring good knowledge to the table. We're trying to help you win in any marketplace by bringing experts like our friend Nick Schriver here with Decorating Elves, who was just telling us about his wonderful trip and understanding how blessed we are in the United States right now. But before we get back to my friend Nick Schriver, we're going to go ahead and showcase some of the properties from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Brandon and Lindsay, they run a #1 real estate team, and they have some amazing properties. We have a wonderful commercial property up at 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview, Florida. It's a premium corner lot commercial property. It's got a 2-building parcel. One of them is it's almost 1,300 square feet. There's a barber shop that's on the corner. My understanding is that barber shop is relocating, so you have like this 1,300 square foot that you can put any kind of business in there. It can be maybe a small training studio or another barbershop and come right in. It's already established. People are in the habit of going there already. You also have almost an 1,800. It's 1,768 square foot auto repair business. That lease was just recently renewed. The deal of them being there. So I mean, if you buy this property, you have income already coming in from the auto repair business. They're going to be paying their rent for a while there, so you're established and ready to go. The roof is only 2 years old. AC system in the barbershop. Everything is nice. It's a 5-year lease that they just signed to be with the auto repair shop. So you got 5 years of income there. It's a tremendous potential here for a return of investment at 7202 US Highway 301 South in Riverview, Florida. Another one of our beautiful properties, we're going to take it back to the residential side of 861 Mandalay Avenue in Clearwater Beach. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, open kitchen featuring sleek quartz countertops, gorgeous stainless steel appliances, crafted tiles, high quality fixtures and finishes. We got walk-in closets. Master bath has a jetted tub. I'm sold. Full shower, 2 elegant vanities. 900 square foot screened in covered patio. I mean, that is like just hang out and party central there. You just kick it back there, reading a book, playing your guitar, whatever it is, you'll find peace back there. I guarantee it. And it's only steps away from the white sands of Clearwater Beach. You can check out all of our properties at platinumcoastalelite.com, or you can always call our hotline 727-263-3707. I want to bring it back home. So now back here in the U.S., Nick, how do we make our home look like these beautiful paradises that you were just visiting with our lighting situations?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have the benefits of lighting, and we usually try to get beautification taken care of right away. So making a property look amazing, lighting up the front yard, the backyard, the palm trees, the plant material, the hardscapes. While we're doing that, we're trying to check off safety and security. And in doing that, we're also trying to get usability. So a lot of times with usability, that means that the pool, the lanai, those summer areas that we're going to be using more, have that extra usability with the lighting. So sunset, it's dark, it's now cooled off a little bit, and you want to go out there and use the lanai, you want to use the pool. We're going to put some lighting, some sconces up that can either be color changing or white.
Nice.
Give you some nice illumination. If you have something really beautiful to see beyond the lanai, we're going to do something on the chair rail so that that just lights the patio so you can see through it. Or if you want it to be lit really well so you can maybe have a meal or have it more like a room, we'll put the lighting up on the top and then shine it down and just illuminate that really well. So that's one of the things that's become very popular in extending the usability and extending those pool and eyes in that outdoor area, into the evening, and really just been really helpful there.
Real quick, the security side of that really intrigues me because I'm a big security person. I teach self-defense, and I also teach firearm instruction and home defense stuff. How do you go beyond just because most people just I have a Ring camera or I have a motion light?
Yeah, so it's interesting. security is all kind of depends on who you are and how you perceive it. So one of the things that we try to make sure that we talk to people when we're talking about security is, one, that there's no glare, right? So what glare is when you put light out into your yard or anywhere and you can't see beyond the light. All you can see is the light. So it's kind of a common misnomer with glare. So like just putting too much light.
Yeah.
So if you put a light post in the middle and it's really, really illuminating and you can't see beyond the light post, and somebody can park a car right behind it.
More is not always better.
Yeah. So one thing we talk about, we address is that. And then we're always looking to make sure that there's the sense of security. So the person's ability to see through the yard to the ends, right? So you can look out the window or you can be on the patio and you can see all the way to the end of the yard. Now, here's kind of a funny story that kind of falls under that category, but maybe isn't exactly that. So one of my customers was telling me this the other day. We were there doing some maintenance and cleaning some things up. And, they were like, hey, like, I have to share this with you. So security, right? So we have the yard well lit. Everything's kind of well lit, but the lanai wasn't very well lit. It was kind of dark, but the husband and wife were out there chilling. So, evening hours, a little bit later than normal, husband and wife go out. They kind of have those lanai lights off, and they're having a glass of wine. Normally, they would have been in bed. So the yard's well lit. The whole thing's well lit. And lo and behold, what do they see a couple of minutes later? They see their teenage daughter go right across the yard. Yeah.
Busted.
So, sometimes there's a little more security than just like, right, not good for her.
Negative.
No, I don't think that worked out in her favor.
It's a teachable moment, though.
It's very
I
much,
call those teachable moments.
Very much a teachable moment.
Yeah.
When we talk about security, that's not what we had in mind.
Yeah.
But, obviously there are some side effects that definitely come about and some things that we learn as we go as to some other benefits that may help people in those aspects to having that illumination. And we had good lighting. The lighting lit the trees. It kind of lit the further out downward spaces. So the teenager had like clear shot. Like everything was well lit for her to just go ahead and rock it out and go do whatever she was doing. You know what I'm saying? But on the other side, she didn't anticipate mom and dad sitting there watching.
There you go. Now she gets to learn a well-lit home as well is a deterrent.
All of it's a deterrent.
It's a deterrent because when listen, criminals don't want to mess with anything that they think is going to give them a fight or be more trouble than what it's worth.
No,
so
absolutely.
A well-lit home,
it gives everyone the advantage. Absolutely. And you can find us at 1-800-MY-LIGHTS. That's MYLITES or www.decoratingelves.com.
Love it. Nick, thank you so much for your time, man. Great having you on the show.
All right,
always.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right, so there you go. Wonderful show today. You can call us 727-263-3707. We'll get you in touch with any of our guests. We'll see you again soon. ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play.